Whether you're celebrating with a small group or a large gathering, these recipes feature your favorite New Year's Eve dishes, starting with Oysters Rockefeller. It's believed that nearly 50% of oyster production is consumed between Christmas and New Year's every year, so it's a good time to get oysters. To start off with the Oysters Rockefeller, I've got a hot pan here, and I'm going to add some butter, a nice amount of butter. Butter and oysters go together quite nicely. Then I've got some prepared shallots into the pan and some garlic. I'm just going to grate it in so it's nice and fine. That fragrance is just perfect. Be a nice match with the oysters. And then I've got shredded spinach, and this is going to go on the stove. It'll cook down in just a matter of about 2 minutes. The spinach is nicely wilted now. I've got some cream. I'm going to add this and reduce it just a little bit. The cream will be flavored by the shallots and butter, and this is going to be just a gorgeous topping for those oysters. I've been busy shucking, and I wanted to show you how easy it is to open up oysters. All you have to do is recognize that there's a bottom and a top, and laying it on a cloth really makes it easy because you can handle it. Run your knife right just inside. You can see there's a little groove there. I'm just going to press my knife inside there and wiggle it just a little bit until it pierces through, and then I'll press up, and I've got that clean and free. I'm just going to run the knife along the top. Look how easy that is to come off. Then I'll run the knife just underneath to separate it from the muscle and leave that there. Now, I can smell that topping on the stove is ready. You can see how that cream has reduced so nicely. It's rich and it's thick. And what I want to do is I want to take from each one of these oysters, I'm going to pour some of that extra juice inside there. What that'll do is it'll flavor that, and it'll help to really make a huge impact when it comes to the flavor of the gratin. Now, it's great to eat oysters raw, but if you're just starting with oysters, the nice thing about a gratin is that it's a little more mild, and it brings the flavors together in a way that are maybe a little more palatable. Personally, I like to serve it in a duo. So some go out raw, and some go out in a gratin. So you can see the beautiful texture of this lovely topping. I'm just filling each of the shells to the top, setting them on the broiling tray. Then I take a little bit of breadcrumbs, which is going to crisp up on the top, soak up any of that beautiful juice. Cover each one, and then I'll take a beautiful fragrant cheese. I'll take Gruyere. You could use Parmesan, you could use Pecorino. The Gruyere, for me, it reminds me of French onion soup gratiné. It's beautiful. And I use a microplane and just let that cheese rain down on these oysters. They are just begging for the broiler now. And you know, the great thing about this is you can prep elements of this well in advance. So if you have a big party, you can shuck the oysters, prepare the topping, get everything set, and you can put these through the oven over and over and over again. So I'll just tuck these inside, put them to bed, select broil, and 500 degrees, and we'll put these on for about 5 minutes, and they'll be perfect in 5. I set this for 5 minutes and then an additional 5, and look at this incredible finish. Those are perfectly, well, they're even popping. They're so beautiful. And the thing about this is, it's a really great way to introduce oysters to people who might be a little hesitant. And a perfect accompaniment to this has got to be champagne. It's really important when you open champagne to make sure to just twist off that wire top, peel it back to reveal the top, and then when you open the bottle, just twist it slightly and turn it just a little bit so that I like to refer to it as a little kiss. It allows you to not waste any of this bubbly goodness, to pour a tall glass. Look at that. The carbonation in champagne is like heaven in a bottle. And champagne and oysters are the most perfect pairing on the planet. This decadent warm duck breast salad is sautéed to perfection and drizzled with a blackberry jus. One of the most important things when cooking duck breast is that you have a good heavy bottom pan. Now I'm going to heat this up on medium heat before I even put those duck breasts in. Duck breasts have a tremendous amount of fat. Look at that layer of fat. And it is quite flavorful and beautiful to work with, but we have to render some of that down. The way that you prepare it is by simply scoring across the duck breast in even strokes, running parallel. And what that does is it just opens it up to not only render down, but also to crisp up beautifully. And you go in both directions, 90-degree angle, exposing that beautiful meat underneath. With the duck breast scored, now all I need to do is season. Some fresh ground black pepper would be just nice. And then I want to make sure that I season it well with salt. Got some really nice flaked sea salt here. Of course, salt will help to draw out some of the moisture as well. Make sure that it's seasoned thoroughly. When I put it in the pan, I'll be sure to season both sides. I've got my pan, it's smoking hot. I'm just going to gently lay these in. Oh yeah, that's gonna stick immediately. But as soon as that begins to cook, it will loosen up and that fat will render down. So I'm gonna season the second side now. Oh man, the smell, it's incredible already. Salt, and again some pepper, and back to the stovetop. You can see I've taken and already drained off a little bit of the fat, which is really important, otherwise it just begins to boil in the fat. Now that it's nicely colored, I can turn it over, and you can see here how tense that muscle has become. It's going to be really important when we bring it back to allow it to rest so that can relax, keep all the juices inside, and keep a really nice texture. Now that the duck breasts are fully cooked, I can take them and just allow them to rest. The most important thing to do is just to cover them. Got some foil here, and we'll just cover them up. Covering them, they will continue to cook a little bit, but the nice thing is they'll retain their heat and get that perfect doneness. Now I've got some shallots into the pan, so this is great because I'm building a sauce right into the pan. I'm going to deglaze with some port. Port is rich and slightly sweet. It will go really nicely with the duck. And I've got these gorgeous blackberries. Look at these. I'm going to put this in. This is going to go back to the oven, and I'm just going to reduce this a little bit. The blackberries will begin to give off a little bit of juice. I'm going to leave them intact though because I want a nice rustic finish. Back to the stovetop. An important part of New Year's Eve is wine and champagne service. So a really quick lesson on how to open a bottle of wine and how to do it easy. We've got these little calipers here that work really good for taking the top off. They rest easily on the top, and with a little pinch, you can just go right around the top of the bottle and take that cap off, which is great. Gives you a nice clean pouring edge, and you can set that aside. Now we've got a really great bottle opener that simply drops on top and goes in, and just in a moment easily takes out the cork. Now for a pour, nice big Cabernet Sauvignon in a lovely crystal glass. Crystal is nice because it has an irregular edge. It's like a louvered or a corrugated edge. What that does, it allows the wine to aerate just a little bit, a little swirl, and then if you tip your nose just inside, and 3 deep breaths, you can get a real sense for the bouquet of the wine. And when you want to taste, draw it back, adding air at the same time, It'll allow you to enjoy the wines that you're selecting to pair with foods and to really become, well, let's just say a wine expert in your own home. A classic duck pairing is duck a la orange. Well, fresh orange with duck breast stands to reason that that would be perfect too. I'm going to show you how to incorporate oranges in a really delicate way by making supremes of the orange. What you do is you take it's about almost 1/4 of the top and the bottom off, exposing the inside. It also makes it a lot easier to work with because it's flat and stable on the cutting board. And then just taking your knife in a sawing motion and working your way right around the outside of the orange, just like so. What you do is you open up each one of those little pockets, allowing you access to those little supremes of orange. Then simply hold it in the palm of your hand, and gently you can see the veins and the separation of each one. The little segments you can take and just run your knife down, and look how easy they pop out. It's important to have a good sharp knife. It'll make this job really, really simple. With all the components of the salad finished, I'm ready to assemble. I simply take one of the duck breast and not slicing the length of the breast, but against that grain. That way I'm going through the grain and I'll keep it nice and tender. You can see that beautiful pink finish. Want to make sure that we have nice, long slices, thin on a bias, so that it's nice and tender. Then I've chosen, because we've got some sweet elements, I've chosen watercress and arugula. Now I'll put a small bit of cress on the bottom. Very fresh and bright. A little bit of arugula because arugula is peppery, and you can also build arugula nicely. So I'll build that up just like that. Now I've got these great orange medallions. So I'll just slide those in there, the supremes, tuck them in here and there. And see, it looks bright. Make sure the oranges taste really good too. Check them to make sure the flavor is there. So oranges in, and we'll just arrange some duck breast throughout the salad. Remember that rich duck fat is going to be cut by the acidity and the citrus. And let's see how that sauce has finished up for us. So this is a reduction of the port, and we've got those beautiful blackberries. So we'll do, first of all, a few of the blackberries. And then finish off with essentially a blackberry jus, which really becomes much like a vinaigrette. That's a very decadent salad. For a New Year's Eve, it's a beautiful finish to a fine dish. Broiled lobster in a fresher butter sauce is far superior than boiling. You're going to love this dish and want it every New Year's Eve. We're going to put together a little bit of an herb butter. It's really simple. Parsley you think is such a common herb, but with lobster, it's an absolutely perfect fit. So I'm going to put some fresh parsley in. I've got 4 garlic cloves. Lobster is a bit of a blank canvas, so it really allows you to add flavor. There's some really, really beautiful fat and incredibly unique flavors that are in there, so it goes really well with the, what doesn't go well with butter. I'm just going to chop this, pulsing it. We want those pieces to be nice and fine and really well incorporated. Perfect. Now I've got cubed butter in, and I'm going to add a little bit of lemon zest. The lemon zest will brighten it up. Always adding lemon zest to add that oil that just really, it acts like vanilla in baking. It just brightens and accentuates all the flavors. So just pulse to incorporate until that's complete. smells incredible. It's almost complete now. I'm just gonna add a little bit of pepper and a tiny bit of salt and a little glug of olive oil. Good extra virgin olive oil. With the lobster split completely in half, I want to point out the tamale. It's this green substance here that should really be removed. Some people consider it a delicacy. Some people think it's crazy to remove it. Sometimes other people think you need your head examined to eat it. So it's entirely up to you. I'm gonna remove it for this purpose because it's creating a bit of a cavity for that beautiful butter that we prepared. So with that, for the most part, removed, we can now take the prepared butter and literally spoon that inside. With the butter completely filling the cavity, I now can put the lobster on, turning the top burner to full broil, and I've got the setting so it just comes over top, so that broiling heat is gonna come down right on top of the lobster. It'll cook from the underside and broil from the top. Broiled to perfection. Why not make this year's last meal one to remember? Usher in the new year with fire and ice, a mango sorbet, and a beautiful, luxurious chocolate fondue. Whenever you're serving big crowds, it's important to have a little bit of something for everybody. In this case, the mango gelato will be a little lighter and fruity, and then we've got the heavy, bold chocolate. We've got cookies, but we've also got some tropical fruits. So literally something for everyone. I've started the fondue pot on high, and I'm adding a cup of 10% cream and a cup of 35% cream. So a good balance of cream. I'm gonna bring that up to temperature. When it comes up to a nice rolling simmer, I'll add in the beautiful bittersweet chocolate. While that's heating up, let's assemble this mango gelato. So I've got the food processor, and about 4 cups, I'm using frozen mango. You can use fresh mango. And a half cup of sugar, some coconut milk, which gives it a really great tropical flavor. Got some mango and some pineapple juice, some lime zest. Important to just get the zest, not the pith. So brighten it up nicely. Unmistakable lime zest. There you go. Lid on and blend away. Comes together really quickly. Honestly, the hardest part of preparing this is just making sure to put the frozen cup from the gelato machine in the freezer the night before. Oh, beautiful. My gelato is now velvety and smooth, and the cream has now come up to temperature. I'm just going to gently put that chocolate in, little bits at a time, and I'm going to turn the temperature down, stirring it until it's a beautiful texture. Fully combined, the chocolate is now velvety and smooth. All that's left is to taste. That's ready for the table. With a bowl frozen, you can make the gelato very quickly. Whether it's ice cream, sorbet, or gelato, they're all simple to prepare. Simply put the mixture in. Look at that gorgeous color. Great thing is you know exactly what's going into these mixtures. The paddle goes in. Lid on, and all I do is simply select gelato and start. And we're away. After about 20 minutes, the gelato is firmed up nicely where I can actually make tiny little quenelles. I want to show you this great technique. By using 2 spoons the same size, just drawing them back and forth together, I can make this great little shape. When it comes to finishing dishes, and in this case, a martini glass, I can make it look elegant and attractive, a little bit of fresh mint. And when that goes out to the table, the first thing that you're gonna get is that bouquet of mint. And then when you pass your spoon through that mango gelato, it will be incredibly bright. It'll go perfectly with some champagne, and you can follow it up with this incredible array of beautiful chocolate fondue. New Year's will be one to never forget.